Frankie Knuckles. A name that might not immediately ring a bell for everyone, but his legacy is undeniable. You might not know the name, but you have definitely felt his impact. But you know his sound. That pulsating rhythm, the beats that make you move, the melodies that lift your spirit. He's the godfather of house music, a pioneer who transformed the dance music scene. That infectious, energetic beat that gets everyone on the dance floor, that's Frankie. His music transcends generations and cultures. Knuckles didn't just play music. He curated an experience. He read the crowd, mixed tracks live, and created an atmosphere that was electric, and created a feeling that lasted long after the night was over. People would leave his sets with memories that stayed with them for a lifetime. He was a DJ's DJ, a true artist behind the decks, respected by everyone from David Guetta to Daft Punk. His peers admired his skill and his passion. His influence is still felt today, in every club, at every festival. The essence of his music lives on. This is the story of how a kid from the Bronx changed the sound of music forever. From humble beginnings to global recognition, Frankie Knuckles' journey is a testament to the power of music. Frankie Knuckles was born in the Bronx, New York in 1955. The Bronx, a melting pot of cultures and sounds, was the perfect backdrop for a young boy with a burgeoning passion for music. Growing up surrounded by music, he learned to DJ at an early age. His early years were filled with the sounds of Motown, soul, and funk, which would later influence his unique style. Disco was king, and Knuckles quickly became a master of the turntables. The pulsating beats and vibrant energy of disco music captivated him, and he spent countless hours perfecting his craft. He spun at legendary clubs like the Loft and the Gallery, honing his skills and developing his signature style. These clubs were more than just venues, they were sanctuaries for music lovers, places where the DJ was the high priest of the dance floor. But it was in Chicago where Frankie would find his true calling. The Windy City, with its rich musical heritage, offered new opportunities and challenges. In the early 80s, Knuckles moved to Chicago and took over a club called the Warehouse. This club would become the epicenter of a musical revolution. It was a haven for outcasts, a place where people could come together and dance the night away. The Warehouse was more than just a club. It was a community, a place where everyone was welcome, regardless of their background. Little did they know, they were dancing to the birth of a new genre. The beats that filled the Warehouse would lay the foundation for house music, a genre that would go on to influence countless artists and shape the future of dance music. At the Warehouse, Frankie's sets were legendary. He blended disco with soul, funk with electronic music. He'd extend tracks, isolate vocals, and layer rhythms, creating a sound that was both familiar and completely new. He wasn't just playing records, he was remixing them live, using turntables as instruments. This innovative approach became the foundation of house music. The name house itself came from the Warehouse. People would ask what kind of music Frankie played, and the answer was simple: we play house music. The rest, as they say, is history. Frankie Knuckles' influence extended far beyond Chicago. He became a global superstar, touring the world and releasing hit after hit. His music crossed over into the mainstream, influencing pop, R&B, and electronic music. He won a Grammy Award in 1997 for his remixing work. But more importantly, he earned the respect and admiration of generations of musicians. Knuckles never forgot his roots. He continued to champion emerging artists that embraced him from the start. He was a true pioneer, a visionary who changed the face of music. Frankie Knuckles sadly passed away in 2014. His departure left a void in the music world, but his spirit lives on through the beats and rhythms he created. But his music continues to inspire and uplift people around the world. From the bustling nightclubs of New York to the serene beaches of Ibiza, his influence is felt everywhere. He was inducted into the Dance Music Hall of Fame in 2005, a testament to his groundbreaking contributions to the genre. His awards and accolades are numerous, each one a reminder of his impact. In Chicago, a street was renamed in his honor, Frankie Knuckles Way. This street stands as a permanent tribute to his legacy, a place where fans can pay their respects. It's a fitting tribute to the man who made Chicago the birthplace of house music. The city's vibrant nightlife and music scene owe much to his pioneering spirit. Frankie Knuckles' legacy is more than just music. It's a movement, a culture, and a way of life that transcends generations and borders. It's about inclusivity, creativity, and the power of music to bring people together. His work has united people from all walks of life, creating a universal language through sound. So, next time you hear that infectious house beat, remember the Godfather Frankie Knuckles. His legacy lives on in every beat, every dance, and every moment of joy his music brings.
Growing up in the 70s, and the music that inspired me the most was most anything that came out of Philadelphia. And living in New York City, so close to Philadelphia, occasionally would run down there and try and get as close to what I thought of was Mecca, for music back then as I could, but didn't always have the best luck with it. But I got the records, and listened to them and played them, and it was different then because music wasn't actually designed for the dance floor. People just wrote really incredible songs, and some of them had incredible energy, and some of them had a slower tempo about them, but they all had something about them that moved you, you know what I mean? And the songwriters themselves, that's what you aspire to. With all the albums that came out back then, and the way music was written, when you look at the back of the album covers, you can read all the liner notes. That's how you educated yourself about, about music. And, the life expectancy of a club DJ, if you will, back then was only 3 years. So, because it wasn't a profession, it wasn't what it is now. The life expectancy was only 3 years. So you had 3 years to hit it hard and burn it up, and then make sure you had plans for what you're going to do when those 3 years was over with. And I used to always say to friends of mine that, I'm not going to wake up one day and be 32 years old and still playing records. I got better things to do. I have dreams and goals and aspirations and other things I want to make happen. And the joke is on me because I'm 57 now, and I'm so well past it all. You know what I mean? But at least I got a chance to see it come into something that's really real and tangible and widely accepted as a profession. I grew up in a period where the music was just the most pristine and the most honest and clearly defined. And I'm not just saying R&B. Rock and roll was rock and roll. You know what I mean? But the way, I think it largely came from the fact that every group worked together. Every band worked together. And it took the complete collective to make one big sound. Right now, for the way this industry is working, this side of the industry is working, it's basically one person doing everything until they bring a vocalist in. But for the most part, a lot of these guys are basically doing tracks, and they're not really producing songs, and they're not writing songs, so it's a little bit different. You know what I mean? It's them in a room by themselves. I like the collective effort. I like working with other people, down to the last assistant, engineer's assistant even. When I worked at Quad Recording in New York up until the end of the 90s, I even kept the assistant's assistant. I kept them all involved in the project. I wanted them all to be able to learn something, and I could learn something from them as well. You never know where your education comes from. But I tried to keep them all involved because it's a necessary thing, because that assistant is trying to get somewhere too, and they don't always have an opportunity to get that close to their dreams. So when you bring them closer, and stuff like that, they hear ideas, they hear what you're doing, you can look in their face and see the fascination and stuff, you know what I mean, and you can feed off that as well. When I was getting started, there was a lot of different engineers and producers that let me sit in the back of a room and just watch the recording process, the production process. I had to sit there quietly. I didn't have an opinion, and some of them were great, some of them were horrible, some of them were real mean bastards. To the engineers and the engineers' assistants. I think, I'm a firm believer. There's one thing that taught me is that if I don't do anything else, I'm going to be as nice as I possibly can to the engineers that work with me and the assistants, and I'm going to hold them all closer just so that, you know, they're going to get enough of that BS from somebody else, but they're not going to get it from me. And I don't want to be known for being that type of a person. Besides, you can learn so much faster. You know what I mean? You can get so much done so much faster. You know, and a lot of times, you know, with all those sessions I used to have at quiet recording, everybody always wanted in on those sessions. You know, so, but to me, I think that's the way to work. But, you know, there were a lot of people that helped me along the way with that, you know, and me being able to sit there and watch closely and listen intently. You know, so that I knew eventually when the day came that I'd be able to actually sit at the control desk, you know, and actually take control of it and stuff. You know, I can see the fruition of what my dreams were. But I've been reminded by a number of different people that, well, you know, you have a certain sound. And I kind of sort of stepped outside of myself once and just kind of, I was at home, basically is what it was. And I put my catalog on and I was letting it play from my computer while I was cleaning the house. And I was beginning to hear the common thread that ran through everything. And I actually began to pick up on the fact that there is a sound that is totally mine. And that's a big thing in the music business, when you've developed a sound of your own that people can actually recognize that it's you. You can walk into a bar, you can hear on the radio, this, that, and the other. You know, people walk in the room and say, yeah, that's him, or he's playing. You know, that's a really, really big achievement. You know, because
my name is Frankie Knuckles, and we're at Quad Recording Studio. This is the place where Tupac got shot downstairs in the lobby. There's a lot of very famous people that record here all the time. Missy does a lot of her work here. On the floor below us, Missy Elliott, and I mean all the major rappers and stuff are through here. Well, what we do is we're working on one of the songs from my album. Actually, this will be the last song on the album. It's called I Had Enough. I wrote it with Denise Rich and this other friend of mine, Lathan Armour from California. Right now we're cutting background vocals, and then we're gonna probably cut the lead later on. Real quick, this is my writing partner. This is Danny Madden. Yo, the legendary Danny Madden.
I paid him well.
We do exactly. We do a lot of writing together. He helps me with all my vocalizations and everything. Just one of the greatest people in the world. This young lady here is my angel. She's my muse. She's my angel of choice, actually. This is Nikki Richards. She's actually carrying the weight of most of this album. All the people that I've worked with over the past 15, maybe 18 years are here in New York. And it's easier for me to come here as opposed to bringing all of them to Chicago.
It freaks me out because Frankie is not a singer, so he says.
He says
but
that.
He says that, but he really can
sing.
sing.
You guys don't hear him in the studio trying to teach me the music that he's up with.
Exactly. He's going to sing.
No, actually, when I hear it in my head, I hear her voice singing it.
Right. So. But he hears it, but the thing that freaks me is that he hears it like a singer.
Yes, he does.
So then he sings it to me, and I bug out and go,
oh my God, he's done it again!
Then I get excited, and I tell Nikki, and Nikki goes, oh yeah. Which I say, when you got to hear my choice favorite, which is Journey. You'll get what I'm saying. I like that. Let me hear that, please. That was good, guys.
As a DJ, I'm looking at what other DJs are doing, and I'm trying to make sure that I stay current and stay in the game, because, I mean, at the end of the day, I still have to compete with the rest of these guys out here. I think we all do that. All DJs do that. They go to listen to one another to garner some inspiration and hear somebody else do the same thing that you're doing, but hear their twist on it. Yeah. But I learned that I'm not playing for DJs. I don't play records for DJs. So when they're standing around a DJ booth with this, that, and the other, and most DJs are extremely opinionated, and, you know, there's always going to be somebody on the outside looking in that can do your job better than you can, I don't think about it. You know what I mean? And I always tell them, anytime any of them ask me, you know, for advice, look, don't play for me and don't play for other DJs, because, you know, at the end of the day, we're not paying to get in your club, or most of them are not trying to pay to get in your club, you know, so they're not paying you. You know, you have an audience out there in front of you that really appreciate what you do. Play for them.